So Hayley, you went to quite great lengths, quite literally, to get this part. Obviously, when you're on holiday and you jet skied across to take a phone call. What was it about this project that was of such a great appeal that you just felt that you had to be involved?
When I read the script, it reminded me of having read the books as a kid. They had seemed to get the kind of witticisms and the characters, the spirit of the characters, the same. And so they immediately felt familiar to me, and I'd loved them growing up. And then I thought the character of Evelyn was, she was the kind of the heart of the family, trying to keep her husband and her daughter together and happy, and yet she had her own career, and she was raising her daughter by herself when Christopher Robin goes off to war. So they just felt that there was she had her own kind of independence, I suppose, that was appealing. And who doesn't want to be involved with Winnie the Pooh? I mean, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he has this kind of wonderful, almost blissful outlook on life. Is that quite infectious? Because even when I watched it, when I left, I kind of felt that I'd had a bit of poo in me. Yeah. But being involved in this project every day, did that rub off, do you think, on the kind of cast and crew, having that as a kind of central character in your movie?
It really did. It did rub off. I think the feeling of anything that you do, the tone of what you're making can't help but affect you in some ways. And I remember Jenny Bevan, our amazing costume designer, coming up, and on the first day that she'd seen this and met the stuffed animals who were the stars of the set, she was like, "This is so exciting." She was so kind of moved by it, and we all felt endeared and charmed by the world that Disney were creating around us all.
Because it made me want to sort of go back and sort of go under my old bed and try and find all my old toys and stuff. I was wondering, did you keep any kind of old sentimental toys or objects from your kind of childhood that you've still got at home?
Yeah, I have loads. I think I've got some trolls. I've got some Sylvanian families. I've got some stuffed toys, some old dolls. I have a doll that my granddad gave me, which was Cinderella in her rags, but then you turn her upside down and pull her dress back over her head, and she becomes the ball gown Cinderella. I remember kind of thinking that was just magical when I was a kid.
I've got about 500 of those little footballers with big heads.
Oh, yeah.
And but there is so much in here for adults, but there's also quite a nice message, I think, and something for kids as well, which I'm not sure if they'll necessarily grasp. But this idea that sometimes if their parents do have other stuff to do, or if they have to go to work, or they have to be quite vacant for a short while, it's not always their fault. So I guess there's a real messages here for both adults and children, aren't there?
Yeah, I think when I spoke to Mark about the wrong way to play Evelyn would to make her shame Christopher Robin for his limitations or for his lack of care. But I think she sees in him that it's not like he's withholding his love. He just doesn't at that moment have the vocabulary to express it. And I think that's kind of true of a lot of adults, myself included, when we get distracted by the responsibilities of everyday life. And sometimes, how nice it is to have movies like this that come into our lives to remind us about what childhood was like, about those kind of long, drawn-out summers where you didn't do anything but just kicked around with your mates.
And also, I think that those distractions are sort of 24/7 these days. I mean, it's not like that. I think there used to be a time when, as soon as you'd signed off from your emails in the office and go home, work was done for the day. But now people on the tube, they're still emailing, they're still going home, they're still working.
Yeah.
Are you quite good at turning off just for the night? Are you quite good at just switching off and just sort of like putting work to one side? Or are you one of those people that, a bit like me, that just can't get off their kind of phone?
Yeah, I'm better at it because I didn't for a long time. It's such a part of everyday life that it seemed abnormal to turn off the phone or leave it in another room where you do something else, because everyone seems to be connected all the time. But when I kind of realised that I didn't have an off button, and that when I finish my work, America is 8 hours behind, LA is 8 hours behind, so I'm still accessible to the working day there. And so, yeah, I think it's films like this that kind of made me go. Remind me of just to take that time out to rest. I'm better at it now. It's hard, depends on the day.
And just finally, of course, I mean, working with Mark must have been a real pleasure. He's a great director with an incredible kind of back catalogue of movies. What was that experience like for you?
Well, I loved that he had come to this with his very clear idea of what he wanted, which was not shy away from the sombre and the sadness of certain parts of the story. And he felt that made it richer and that made it more accessible to adults as well as kids. And he's very childlike on set. He's thoughtful and he's very smart, but he also is childlike. Encouraged us to improvise and to play and to collaborate. And kind of dressed like Lemony Snicket was just always this kind of tall, sophisticated man. He's a wonderful presence on set.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank
I'm actually
you.
going to leave you this time.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. So nice to see you all again.
Oh, look, it's Christopher Robin. This promises to be a most excellent film.
Bring the whole family together
I do like a party. Let's bounce!
for a trip to the cinema.
If anyone wants to clap, now is the time.
Because moments with Pooh
Oh, bother.
are always moments worth paying for.
Thank you for having me here. I quite enjoy watching the big screen.
Book, buy and watch with findanyfilm.com. All films, all above board. Disney's Christopher Robin in cinemas August 17.